going. All right. I just gotta mute that video part, otherwise it's gonna get some kind of double feedback, which I hate.
Got it.
All right, we are live, man. You ready to go?
Rock and roll. Let's do it.
All right, fantastic. So, hey everybody, what's going on? And welcome to Joe's Geek Show, the video series where we talk comics. And joining me today is Lewis from the Geek Fortress. So I'm going to turn it over to him for some introductions. How you doing, man?
Hey, man, thank you so much for having me. Like I told you before, this has been long overdue. I love your content. I love the stuff that you do. And I'm so glad that we finally get to work together. That's awesome. Thank you for having me. Thank you for that introduction, too. My name is Lewis. Like you just said, I am the guy of the Geek Fortress. We do a little bit of everything: unboxings, reviews. We talk movies. We do 1 minute reviews. We do gameplays, walkthroughs, a little bit of everything. Just trying to pay respect to the geeky community and everything that has to do with it. So if you guys want to check out my channel, definitely do so. I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, and I definitely recommend it. I've actually left a link in the description down below, and after this video is wrapped up, I'll go ahead and throw some cards up there for you too, and I appreciate, you saying you're a fan of my stuff, because I'm definitely a fan of your stuff too. I think you do a lot of good work. I loved your Resident Evil 2 let's play through kind of deal, like, because I absolutely loved that game.
Yeah.
So it was cool to see, your take on it as well. But the core of what today's episode is about, as it is titled, is 90s cartoons today. So one of the things that I've been doing in the recent weeks is I've been really going and coming back through a lot of old 90s superhero shows. So like I started with the Avengers United Day Stand, which ran from 1999 to 2000, and then I trailed a little back before that and watched the first season of X-Men the animated series.
Oh,
and
classic.
then so which is a phenomenal show. And then now, of course, I'm going through Iron Man, the original 1994 cartoon series. And while I was watching these shows, I was starting to notice a lot of different things in there. Just things like certain themes, things that innuendos that they sometimes put in the TV shows and stuff like that. And I started to really think about, as I was posting that to your channel, and then you and I started kind of going a little bit back and forth about it. Started talking about, especially after you brought up gargoyles.
Yes,
and it was like, yo, when you really think about it, TV shows and cartoons for kids today is way different than how it was for us growing up. So like when I was growing up and stuff like that, I watched a lot of these shows, these superhero shows, things like Gargoyles, Street Sharks, Biker Mice from Mars, just all these really out there and crazy, insane ideas that, I actually really do miss looking at them today. How about you, man? Like, what were some of the things while growing up that you were really into?
I was really, like we mentioned before, Gargoyles. That was my show. I love that show. I remember not missing one episode. I had the toys. I had almost all of them. I recently got the pop figures again because it's such a big part of my childhood. Also, the Spider-Man animated show. It was fantastic. The theme song is probably one of my best theme songs. One of my favorite theme songs of all time, along with X-Men. The whole
which they actually kind of worked into the original movie a little bit too.
Yeah,
like the theme song that they have, they kind of worked that in a little.
Yeah, you kind of just want to go to war with it. You're like, I'm ready. Let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah, dude. And then some stuff that was like a little silly too, but it was such a big part of our childhood, like Captain Planet. It was like one of those shows. I don't know if you ever saw it, but it was
a walking PSA.
Yeah, exactly. So it was so simple, but so larger than life. And then there was the parodies like Darkwing the Duck, that it was also like amazing. Like Let's Get Dangerous. Like it didn't get any better than that. And then, of course, we have the classics like Batman the Animated Series, Superman
Mm.
the Animated Series. So much. Like we could sit here and name them all. It's such a huge part of our childhood.
Oh yeah, I man, and when I was really watching these shows too, and just kind of walking down memory lane and stuff like that, I was sitting there and I started taking notice to certain things that I sometimes have been seeing in the cartoons, from when we were growing up and stuff like that, and just I really started to think about things like the themes of the shows and and other stuff that the writers would throw in there that when you're a kid, you just watch the show and you appreciate the story as is, but then as an adult, you can pay attention to something else added in there, and it's like, oh, as an adult, I get something totally different out of this experience. Let's focus in on Gargoyles for a second, right? Like, this was a show that Disney made because they wanted to compete with Batman the Animated Series, because when that show hit, that was the show, and just because it was a show, Gargoyles and Batman the Animated Series, those were shows that was kind of like you had really good animation, you had great stories with character development, and and it was presented in a way that children could still understand and appreciate, and get those good stories out of it. And also in some ways, there are certain episodes that kind of even challenged, I would say even challenged kids intellectually a little bit here and there by diving into certain things like loss and depression and stuff like that. Even back in Gargoyles, when the Gargoyles, they remember it in the first episode or so when they lost all of their friends before the rest were turned to stone until Jonathan Frakes' character Xanatos puts the castle in the sky. But that was fairly interesting because you don't really see a lot of that today. I mean, there are some shows that do tackle things like that, but oftentimes when I see that today, they're usually tackled with, say, kid gloves in a way. You don't get that raw emotion that, say, Goliath expresses when he sees all of his brothers and stuff just smashed to piles of rubble. And then, of course, Gargoyles was really interesting to me too, because that was the very first show where I ever heard a cartoon with a curse word in it, and because that was actually Jonathan Frakes' character, where he was saying, I want the castle, or he was telling these people, I want the castle picked up and I want it moved over to New York and popped on my high rise and stuff like that. And someone was like, how do you know, I don't think they can do that. And it was Jonathan Frakes who then said, you pay a man enough, he'll walk barefoot into hell. And I was just wait, I was like, hold on, did my ears just, I was like, yeah, she said stuff like that. So, and then I was looking through, a lot of other cartoon shows and stuff that I've been revisiting here. And I believe, and I know I already posted that one picture from the Iron Man TV series.
Oh yeah.
Where
it looks so weird, but
it was insane. And I was just like, it was the character Backlash and Hypnosha, and it looks like Backlash had Hypnosha bent over, and I'm like, that is way too specific to have been an accident. And even in the very first episode of the Iron Man TV series in 1994, I was just like, what am I watching for a split second? This is a kid's show, but the first time you're introduced to Tony Stark, he's in the hot tub with a woman in a bikini, and she's telling him to, push harder and stuff like that. And then they go to Tony's all sweating. He's like, "Rah!"
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, what's going on? Pan out. Oh, he's in physical therapy. Okay, cool.
Yeah. But the innuendo, all of the innuendo that was explicit in there. It was there.
As a kid, I would never have gotten that. Either.
Exactly. As a kid, you were just like, oh, okay. It's almost like they threw a bone just in case the parents were watching too. They were like, here you go. Kind of like Disney throw bones at grown-ups as well in their movies. But as a kid, you're just like, okay, when is he putting on his Iron Man suit? You're not being like, oh, I know what you did there. Now you do. Do. It's like when you watch Power Rangers nowadays and you realize wow, that's not them in the suits. That's footage from the Japanese show. And then when you were a kid, you were like, no, that is Kimberly in the pink Ranger suit. I don't care what anybody says. And then I rewatched the series recently because my nephew likes it, and we watch it, or like with my wife, we just sit down and we watch it, and we're like, wow, this is the stuff that we used to watch when we were kids, and it was the stuff that you would watch. You know, you had the toys, you had the Morphers, you had the Zords, you had everything. You know, you had Saba the sword, the flute, everything, and it was the thing at the time, you know? And then you weren't thinking when you were a kid, like, oh, you know what? That doesn't look like Jason in the suit. Oh, wow, look at that. That's a Japanese street sign back there. No, you were just enjoying the show. But once you get to a certain age and you start becoming like judgmental of everything, once you lose that innocence, that's when you look back and look at it, you're like, wow, how did I not notice that?
I like to think of that as the development of critical thinking skills.
Yep. That's I like that better. Definitely. Yeah. It's like one day you're just like, huh, hold on. And then you start dissecting stuff. But it's part of growing up.
Yeah, but even as an adult, when I'm sitting there even dissecting the stuff I used to watch, and it's really interesting too, because like, you watch shows as a kid, and you really it's like you really do see them one way, and then as an older you see them kind of differently. Like, one thing I never noticed as a kid growing up, as much as I love Spider-Man the animated series, and I think that is one of the comic book shows that had ever been released, I did not realize just how crappy that budget was.
Oh yeah.
And just like how little like just how few like extra pieces of paper they would have gotten for animation. Because like, back when a lot of these shows were on Fox, like Fox Kids and stuff like that, which is where a lot of us saw these shows for the first time. And even the X-Men animated series, I didn't realize was on such a low budget, really.
Yeah.
Because of like just like I said, how many pieces of paper essentially in animation they get, where some of the animation it's a little bit choppy. You could tell there's like, they were trying to save a couple bucks, and cut certain things out here and there, which was fascinating when I was even watching, comparing it to, like other Marvel Studio shows that got put onto different networks. Like I think it was like Hulk, Fantastic Four,
even Silver Surfer looked a little different too.
Yeah,
the Silver Surfer show.
And all four of those, I believe, were on. It was either TNT or USA Saturday morning.
I think it was TNT. I believe so. Because I think that's what I have a horrible memory, but that's kind of what I kind of see the symbol right there in the corner, like kind of going back.
I know it was it's whichever had the Mortal Kombat animated series.
Oh my God, I forgot about that one.
Because the Iron Man animated series and all those stuff were all done by the same people. That one I do know, because like when I look at the Sentry in Iron Man, I'm like, that looks like Raiden from. He actually like the way the jaw looks and stuff like that. The design itself looks like it was taken from Raiden from the Mortal Kombat animated series.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, it was, and I think we also got to enjoy a lot of firsts. Like, you remember Reboot? It was like the first fully CGI show ever at the time, and when you look back at it, it hasn't aged well, because now everything looks fantastic. Like, you look at stuff at the short stories from Love, Death, and Robots over at Netflix. Compare it to Reboot, it's like a caveman,
right?
Exactly, but that was the stuff that you used to watch, and then after that we got Beast Wars. Remember Beast Wars? That was
actually, I just watched Beast Wars a few weeks ago,
nice.
Through the entire series, and then followed that up with Beast Machines.
Nice, very nice.
And,
dude, amazing.
Was, but it was enjoyable. That was the thing.
Exactly.
Is like even if the animation doesn't hold up, the stories kind of do.
Absolutely.
So, and I think that's one of the most important things about, programs from when we were kids and stuff like that, is that even if a lot of the animation or the CGI and stuff doesn't hold up, a lot of the shows still, in terms of like their story and their content, hold up today. Now, when you have some other shows that say, like my let's see, I'm trying to think, my cousins. I can't remember what that is. Maybe second cousins. Like my cousins' kids.
Uh-huh.
You know, they you know, and they're growing up on like, you know, today's shows and content, you know, things like, you know, SpongeBob and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like whatever the kids watch today, and stuff like that. Because like I know what last time I was over there and I was hanging out with them, they were watching their shows. And in here, even like, you know, my wife with my daughter, you know, she's showing her some of the kid shows on Netflix and stuff that are of the new variety.
Yeah.
And it's just so weird, you know, because I'm like, because every time I look at the shows today, I'm sitting there thinking to myself that, wow, it's just so different. Like I guess I can't really think of a way to explain it other than everything is just, you know, brighter, louder, and dumber.
Yeah.
Is the best way I can describe that. It really, like, children's programming today feels like shows for kids with like ADHD or something like that.
Yeah,
Like,
that's a good way to put it. It's a lot of like poop jokes, fart jokes, burp jokes, and that pisses me off sometimes because I'm like, okay, maybe once or twice, but when you have it on every episode, it's like, come on.
I know,
like,
and I was just sitting there. It's like, where's the thought provoking stories,
exactly.
You know, and stuff like that. Like, I mean, you know, it's like 8-year-old me watching the Phoenix Saga versus, you know, 8-year-old nephew who's just like, you know, ham and eggs.
Yeah. See, that's
like,
another thing. The lack of a storyline. That's something very important. Like in our time, there was a storyline even for cartoons. Nowadays, you got like PJ Masks or like Cupcake and Dino and Netflix, and every episode, it's like something else. Like, I think the last TV show cartoon show that I started watching, and I was already older, this is a 2000 show, it was Danny Phantom. I really enjoyed Danny Phantom.
Yeah,
I don't know if you ever got...
show, yeah.
Yeah, and I enjoyed it, you know? It had a good story, it had a good premise, and it had storylines at points, so I enjoyed that. And I almost want to say also Ben 10, the original Ben 10. Because I enjoyed it. The whole superhero thing, I enjoyed. But it still wasn't as good as what we used to watch. But then you go back again to like Spider-Man, and you had like the Venom saga. When Venom got on him, he got the black suit and everything. Like, you wanted to come back and watch more. You know, like, oh, you want to find out, to be continued, ... And that's how,
yeah.
Like, I, as a kid, as a freaking 8, 9, 10-year-old, I'm like, what? What?
And then you gotta wait that whole next week.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like it's teaching me patience. It's teaching me so many things. And nowadays, it's just like Netflix shows. You can just hit next, and that's it. You know?
Yeah.
Like, back then, you had to wait. And that also goes with like anime, like Dragon Ball Z episodes. A transformation was like 6 episodes. So you had to have the patience of a god. So you could sit there and be like, okay, hopefully he'll turn Super Saiyan next episode. Hopefully the Venom, the symbiote suit, will come out of him next episode. So it left you wanting more, and that's something that I miss a lot. That's, you know.
Oh yeah, I definitely hear you, because like, you know, and also with shows like that, one thing that it got me to do was to kind of focus and, you know, really commit to it too, because like, not only do we have to wait that whole week, but we have to like get up at a specific time every single morning on that on that Saturday at the right time. And for a lot of us and stuff, it's like we don't have alarms, we didn't have clocks as kids and stuff like that. I mean, nowadays kids can just like set their cell phone when their favorite show comes on and just like boom, you know. But with us, it was sort of like, you know, I'm getting out of bed every few hours on that Friday night, Saturday morning, just checking the like just waiting for it. Like, oh cool, it's like, you know, 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, and then as soon as it hits like 5 o'clock in the morning, I'd be like sitting there, and I'd actually sit down and watch infomercials for like an hour until 6 o'clock when everything started up, because that's when all the shows started up. You know,
I remember my mom's favorite thing to say was like, you don't get up to go to school Monday through Friday this early, and then Saturday you're up bright and early. What is this? And I was like, but I like cartoons. I don't like school. She didn't like that much. But that's what life was about, getting up early. You didn't care that you were going to be up early. You're a kid, you know. You got the energy. You just want to watch your freaking show. And I miss those days. Good times.
Oh yeah, great times, great times. That and like all the different sugary cereals that
Oh yeah.
some treats that you could get. You'd be sitting there, like 6-year-old, 7-year-old me sitting there with like a bowl of like a half bowl of tricks, which is like
Yeah.
half the box, because I'm like, I need to make sure I have enough to sit and watch
Yeah.
the entire show, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, yep.
Oh,
I
man.
was always a huge fan of drinking the after milk. That would just be like an after snack. Just
Oh
drink
yeah,
the
and all
flavor milk. Oh,
flavored.
delicious, delicious.
Man, that's crazy. I mean, heck, there's even protein shakes today that are like that. The Quest protein shakes. I don't know if you've seen those. You walk into a
I
GNC.
haven't.
Yeah, no, they have like Trix flavored, Lucky Charms flavored,
No way.
protein shakes that taste like the after milk in the cereal.
That is crazy.
I mean, I've never tried it myself, but
Right.
I saw that was it was different. It was different. Like, that was a big thing, but still, yeah, man. I mean, and then when it's like when I'd watch these shows and stuff, I just always remember just feeling so at home, so relaxed, and at the same time out on edge, because if it was a to be continued thing. And then I remember as more shows started coming out and stuff like that, I was just like, so at one point I remember in the 90s, I think it was probably like the mid 90s, 95, 96 or so.
Mm-hmm.
The hardest thing to do sometimes was to try and advocate your time, because sometimes there'd be like 5 or 6 shows on at the exact same time. I don't know if you tried this, where it was like 5 or 6 shows on at the same time on like 8 different channels, and you're sitting there every commercial, you're like flipping back,
switching channels between. Yes, of course, dude. I think we all did that. Switching channel between commercial. That was a big part of your life. Because if you didn't, sometimes you would not get lucky. Sometimes the commercials would not sync with the other channel, or they would be at the same time, so you'd be left without any watching material. Or sometimes you just wouldn't get any chance at all, because the good stuff's happening over here, the good stuff's happening over here too, and then you're just like, But I was a big fan of channel switching between commercials. Yes, and it's funny that you mentioned that, because that memory didn't come back to me till you just mentioned it right now. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, definitely, man.
It's
It's like a whole retread of your childhood in a way, of like that Saturday morning and what it entailed.
Yeah. Oh, what great times! What great times! Like even like silly shows back then, like Dexter's Laboratory or like Johnny Bravo. It was like silly shows. They were like guilty pleasure shows. But even those, you were like, oh my god, I gotta watch. And then you got Batman the Animated Series. I think it's like the top of them all, if you think about it. And then we got Batman Beyond. And you were just like, oh, it cannot get any better than Batman. And Batman Beyond just hooked me up from beginning to end. And I was like, Terry McGinnis might be my new favorite Batman. Like, I think he was my new favorite Batman for like a long time, And
everything about Batman Beyond was awesome.
I know, it was amazing. So you were hooked. You were hooked right away. And even Superman the Animated Series. I know a lot of people are not too fond of it, but I enjoyed it a lot. I thought the theme song was amazing.
It definitely felt Superman, for the TV small screen and stuff like that. And of course, around that time, that was like a big time for Superman too, because you all had that, and then you also had the Lois and Clark,
the New Adventures of Superman. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yep. That there was there was a lot of Superman stuff going on at that time, which was really, really awesome. Because I really it's funny you mentioned that too, because it's like, I mean, I always loved Superman the Animated Series, but I remember, as much as I loved it, sometimes like I would always get stuck watching this one episode every single time. Just about, it felt like all the time, which was the episode with the origin of Parasite.
Okay.
And I don't know what it was. I think they just they replayed that episode so many times, and I was just like, even now when I pop in the DVD and that episode pops up, sometimes I'm like, gosh, should I just skip this? I've seen it so many times.
Skip next. Nope.
Yeah, because it really was like the middle of the second season to the third season of the animated series that was definitely the most interesting. So I don't know if you remember like that final story arc of the show where Darkseid erases Superman's memories and stuff, and you're just kind of like, whoa, wait, when did this happen? When did he even get captured?
Yes. I do vaguely remember. I have to rewatch that show. I have the whole thing on DVD, but I haven't had time to. It's just life, you know. If I wish I had time to sit down and rewatch my whole childhood, but it's hard sometimes. Yeah. Monday through Friday work and everything, trying to do some videos for the weekend as well. So sometimes there's no time. Then you gotta fit in laundry, this and that. So the whole thing just reminds you of simpler times. So just sitting down and watching it all over, it's awesome. But dude, even if we jump a little into the 2000s, I think the last like superhero TV show that accomplished greatness during that time had to be the Justice League cartoon. Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. That was amazing. I think that was one of those shows that even though it was already past the 90s, like the gold era of the cartoons for superheroes, it was one of those TV shows that hooked you up, had storylines, had some of the episodes had like 4 parts, I believe, if I'm not wrong, and they had some fantastic lines.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I remember in the first season there is not. I mean, and it's true. There when it came to the original Justice League cartoon series, there in the early 2000s, there was not one episode that was just one episode, if I recall.
Yeah,
it always fed over. It was always at least a 2-parter at the minimum. And like you said, some of them ran like 3-4 parts and stuff like that, and those were just such good shows. I mean, you had the team that did the Batman and Superman animated series, and it was just like, okay, let's continue to make these awesome stories. We'll just throw in a few extra characters, and it was and it was interesting too, because it's like when you really think about it, the Justice League was rarely all together as a group, like they oftentimes got split up in the episodes and stuff like that. Like when you had the episode where it was Green Lantern, the Flash, was it Hawkgirl, I think, where they went to that alternate universe where it was like the comic book world that Jon Stewart used to read.
Yes. That's right. You're right. Yeah, they had a lot of those. There's another one. You remember the one where like Superman dies, and it's basically Superman gets teleported to like another time, or I don't remember if it's a time, but then that's like his story, and everybody is like trying to get him back. And then when they also do for the Man That Has Everything storyline, when it's just Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman. Remember, he's got the star alien on him, and he's like living in Krypton and all of that. They had a lot of episodes like that. You're right.
Black Rose, I think.
Yeah. That was awesome. I think it wasn't until like the Brainiac Lex Luthor fusion that happened, when like that was all of them, and also when Hawkgirl, spoiler alert, when Hawkgirl gets kicked out of the Justice League. That was like a 3 or 4-parter, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that was that later got packaged in as its own movie called Starcross.
That's right. And then you didn't think you could get any better than that, and then Unlimited came out, and then all the heroes just came, and you were just like.
And what I really liked about the Unlimited series too is then we got to start looking at some of the more obscure superheroes, like the Question and and them Steel. They actually got Steel in. Oh man, who else? There's so many of them.
They had a whole bunch. They had I think they had a version of Major Force. The Atom. They had a whole bunch.
Yeah, the Atom, Green Arrow was in there.
I think they also had a Stargirl. Yep. They had Stargirl, Supergirl, Power Woman. There was a few. And that has one of my favorite episodes, which is when Darkseid comes to Earth. And then Batman's trying to attack him, and then Darkseid just like flips Batman over, and that's like my favorite Superman monologue ever. When Superman is like, "I feel like I live in a world made of cardboard, always taking constant care not to hurt somebody." Blah, dude, that's one of the best things ever. I love that.
That was easily one of my top Superman moments, like of all time, across any medium of Superman. That was just an amazing sequence, and that was a really good finale too.
It was perfect
to the Justice League Unlimited, and I was just like, you know what? If you're gonna go out, you go out with a bang. That's how you do it, Oh, dude, so good. And even like on some of the other channels too, like in the early 2000s, there was also like on Kids WB, there was like The Batman, which was that Batman animated series.
I like the Batman. I like what they did with the Joker. The way they made him look
Honestly,
with like the long hair. It was different, but I was like, okay, I dig it. I liked it.
yeah, I mean, personally, I kind of think that was actually an underrated series. I don't think enough people talk about the Batman because that
For
actually
sure.
led into one of my favorite home animated movies, which was Batman versus
Batman versus
Dracula.
Dracula. Yeah.
That was such. I remember the first time I watched the Batman versus Dracula, I was like, "Oh, it's gonna be some kind of like villain that like dresses up and calls himself Dracula," and then it's just like,
Right, right,
"No,
right.
it's freaking Dracula!"
It's
And like
the
they,
Dracula. I know.
they got as close to horror imagery as they possibly
I know.
could. With like vampire Joker and like all the blood is just raining down on him, and I'm
Yeah.
like wow, that's pretty intense though for
Yeah.
for kids. That's like it's very interesting imagery that I would never have expected to see and stuff inside
Oh
of a
yeah.
kids movie like this, but they definitely did it, and I think it worked very well, which just made me love it even more.
I agree. And I love because he's trying to make a cure, and at one point Dracula is just like, "There is no cure," and it's just like so deep and so like profound that he was like busting his butt trying to create a cure for him, and he's like, "Oh, there is no cure." And I remember watching that with my friends, and we kept saying to each other for like the next year, "There is no cure. There is no cure. There is no cure." That was like our thing for like the next year. And people be like, "What are you guys talking about?" I'd be like, "You have to watch Batman versus Dracula." But yes, I agree with you. That was a great animated movie, very underrated. Not too many people know about it. And I think more people, like anybody watching right now or later, when you watch this later, look it up, find it, watch it, enjoy it. It's fantastic.
Yeah, you will not be disappointed. That is a phenomenal, phenomenal movie. Like I could not recommend it enough on that front. And then what was it? That same team that did the Batman. Then after that show got canceled, then they transitioned into another show that isn't really talked about too much. Was the Spectacular Spider-Man?
See that one I didn't watch, to be honest with you. Was that on Disney Channel? No, I didn't watch that. Was that
No,
on the
no,
Disney
no.
Channel?
It was still on WB. It was still on WB. This was sometime before. This was still before Disney had bought Marvel.
Was that the one who got canceled once they got bought out?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, I've heard of it. I've never had the chance to watch it though. I think.
Oh, dude,
Yeah,
it's very interesting because some do those that have watched it, some do consider that to be the best Spider-Man animated series.
really.
Like across all of them, even better than the 1995 version, which, part of me kind of agrees, part of me doesn't agree. It just really depends on how you look at it.
Right, right.
I mean, me personally, of course, yeah, I still have a little more nostalgia to the original 90s version just because they followed the comic books a lot closer, whereas Spectacular Spider-Man tore just a little bit more from the Ultimate Universe, specifically with the origin of Venom.
Okay.
That was more the Ultimate one, where it was made as like a suit to like cure diseases and give it to soldiers and stuff like that. And then and then it gets on Eddie Brock, and after it comes off Peter, and he turns into Venom and all that stuff, which was still a very interesting take on Venom. I still liked that concept there. And it was really sad just to watch that show get canceled after only I think it was like 2 seasons, and that was it done. And because Disney bought Marvel. So
yeah. I remember that because I remember there was a show that got canceled after it got bought out. So that's the one. Yeah. I never got around to watching that, and that was on Channel 11 also.
Whatever your version of WB was.
Oh yeah, it was 11. Yeah. So sorry, my brain was WB. Yeah, that's where it was on.
Yep. And then it was of course it went a few years later, and then we got the Ultimate Spider-Man TV series, which was start of
Yeah. That one I've seen episodes here and there. I've never seen it in order, to be honest. I've seen episodes here and there though.
I mean, it's on Netflix, but it does have it honestly has a lot of the problems that I find in a lot of shows today, in which they do it does still try to tell a story, but it's just very loud and out there about it. They still do kind of like the fart jokes and stuff like that. And
okay.
They try to keep it going as quick as possible, never lingering in one place too long, not really allowed to feel anything, I guess you could say. It's just very, hey kids, look at this sort of scenario, which is which is, as you know, that the Spectacular Spider-Man was ending, I was running into that more and more and more and more, you know, and then they started taking a lot of the shows that I loved as a kid and just making them, you know, more of that, you know, child, like that. I guess I don't know when this became the status quo for kid shows, where, you know, it went from, you know, serious, thought out, well told stories to, you know, hey, look at me, look at me, look at me, kind of thing, you know, like like when you look at the Teen Titans, and then when it became Teen Titans Go.
Oh God, yeah. What?
Or one of my biggest betrayals, Thundercats versus Thundercats. Oh,
I've never seen the new one. I never.
Yeah.
I don't even have the will or the curiosity to want to watch it, to be honest with you,
dude. Whenever I saw that initial first episode on those, like, I just felt like someone was just taking a sword and stabbing it like right through my heart, you know, straight into my childhood, where I'm just like, that is just that should not. You were not made to look like this and be these silly, you know, Steven Universe wannabes, I guess you could say.
I'm glad I didn't watch it. That the original Thundercats holds a place in my heart like nothing. I used to have action figures of that as well. I had a Lion-O. I used to have two versions of the Swords of Omen. He came with like a small version and the big version. I think he had the Gauntlet as well, and I think I had a Munra also. I think. Right on. When I was a little kid, so I don't remember too well, but I do remember having a lot of the toys. And I used to make cardboard Sword of Omens with when I played with my friends. Like, we would play Thundercats and be like, "Oh, I'm Lion-O." You and whoever we hated the most was always Snarf. Snarf. We didn't really hate him, but you know, whoever got the last pick was like, "Yeah, you're Snarf. Sorry."
Hey, dude, Snarf got his comeuppance one day. I remember the episode of Thundercats where he snuck into Mumra's lair, and he did the whole Mumra spiel, but just had it Snarfra.
Yes. Oh man, what a classic!
Oh my god, that was such a good.
Did you ever watch Silverhawks?
Dude, yes. I remember the Silverhawks
one. Oh, the theme song was amazing, also.
And stuff like that. Oh my god, that was man. That was another good one. Let's see, what else was there. Did you ever watch the RoboCop animated series?
Yes, I did. I that's another one that I didn't watch in order. I just caught episodes here and there. But whenever I caught an episode, I was like, okay, did that get canceled? How long did it last? Because I remember just seeing like 3 of the same episodes all the time, 3 or 4. Did that get canceled?
Well, that one, yeah. The RoboCop series? Yeah, that got canceled after, I think it only ran like a season. It was not a long... a lot of shows around that time were definitely, you know, because there were definitely eras in those early 90s where it was, you know, a lot of companies tried to do the whole like movie property shows with like RoboCop. There was a Highlander cartoon series. You know, the Mortal Kombat cartoon series, which we're trying to go
Mask. Remember the Mask?
There, the Mask.
Yep.
Shura.
Yeah, that's right.
Cartoon series, which, you know, that was funny when those two crossed over too. It's just like, oh my god, that was so good.
That was a good crossover. Bad crossover. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with Power Rangers. Remember that one?
Oh, Power Rangers.
Yeah. Oh man,
I'll never forget the final shot of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles just flying through space on the Galactaboard surfboard things, and I'm just like, how are you breathing right now?
Yep.
Then again, Power Rangers logic, I never learned. Then again, in the Power Rangers universe, there's gravity and oxygen on the moon. So
yeah, that's true. But again, you didn't question that. Again, you were just like, okay, cool.
Oh yeah, exactly. So then so you had that movie era, and then there was of course the X-Men era where X-Men was huge because I don't know if you remember, say the Wildcats or the Ultra Force TV series.
Yeah. Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, like the Ultra Force series got hammered so bad because they almost essentially ripped off the X-Men intro with like how their characters, you know, with their titles and stuff where the names came on the screen. But I'm not gonna lie, I really loved Ultra Force. I actually was a few months back, watched every episode on YouTube.
Okay.
You know, because like that's the only way you can. I think that's the only way you can watch them. Because I've never found.
Yeah, I
like,
don't think there's a DVD
complete,
out for it.
DVD series or anything like. I mean, I checked everywhere too. I checked on Vudu, Amazon Prime, Hulu. Like I looked everywhere, but I don't think anyone ever bought the rights.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I can't really say that. I mean, technically, someone did because that was from Malibu Comics, and Marvel bought Malibu, and then just said, "Go away, characters."
Yeah.
You know, which is really sad too. I mean, that was really sad because you know that Malibu with their Ultraverse had so much potential. Like there was even, I don't know if you remember the live action Nightman TV series.
Nightman. Was that the guy with the one eye and then he had the other eye open? And yes,
Yep.
I remember.
Yep.
I actually saw that on Best Buy. They had the DVD, the complete series.
Yeah, that one got.
I saw that at Best Buy. Yep.
Release. Yeah, that one got a DVD release, and I was just like, "You released the Nightman DVD series, but wait, I can't get an Ultra Force complete season."
Yeah. Ooh, like, dude, do you remember Beetleborgs, Big Bad Beetleborgs?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was like the next big, that's supposed to be like one of the next big ones next to Power Rangers. And after Power Rangers hit big, Saban was sitting there. He's like, "Oh, let's try all these different other ones, like Mask Rider and then Beetleborgs,
VR Troopers. Remember VR Troopers?
Yeah, that was like the second one, and that's kind of a funny story too. If you actually look at the history of that one, with VR Troopers, that was originally going to be a single character show called Cyberman. With Jason David Frank. After he left Power Rangers, he was supposed to go over there, and then the leader of the VR Troopers, was supposed to be the White Ranger, but then they just ended up switching off and rewriting the Cyberman show into VR Troopers.
Wow. Yeah, I did not know that. That's crazy. That's some good trivia right there.
Oh yeah. Well, no, because I heard that. I believe I heard that, and actually, it was like in a Jason David Frank panel at Comic-Con. Someone had asked him about it, and he was sitting there like, "Oh yeah, hey, this is kind of what happened."
Right. Yeah. No, I didn't know that. And it's funny. Jason David Frank. He's still like with all of the Power Ranger stuff. You know. He's like, he still goes to conventions. He wears the Green Ranger outfit and everything. It's crazy. It's crazy. He's really, really good with the fans. He knows where he came from and everything. So that's really, really good. And I've met him, like, I think in every convention that I've been to, that he's been at, I go meet him. I go meet him because I think he even remembers me right now. He's like, "Oh, you coming again?" And he's like, and I'm like, "Yeah, because you're awesome." And he talks to the fans. He talks to the fans. He takes care of his people. He knows where he came from, and I think that's really cool, you know. And I've met almost all of them except for Amy Jo Johnson, and then of course the girl who played Trini, who I'm never gonna be able to meet, which is really sad. But I have them all sign my collection of the complete original series. All of them have signed it except for Amy Jo Johnson now, but she's next.
Yeah. I got something similar going on. I actually have a comic book from the Hamilton Press one. It was the issue number 2. I've got almost all of them, the season 1 and season 2 cast signed, minus Amy Jo Johnson and, of course, Twee Trang.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. I forgot her name. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I'll remember her name because Twee is my wife's middle name. So.
Oh, okay. There you go. Yeah, but yeah, dude, it was very sad that she passed. Such a car accident of all things.
Yes,
really sad.
2001. It was a car accident, which was really sad. Which actually a couple years later, well, not a couple years later, but like it was a few years back. I think it was like this was like maybe 3 years ago. I don't know if you remember. There was for a free comic day. There was a preview for a new Power Rangers comic from this publisher called Paper Cuts.
Yes, I believe so. It wasn't Go-Go Power Rangers, right? It was like another one?
No, it was just Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Mighty Morphin, yes.
It was just Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and it was supposed to have some, like, different stories in there about the Power Rangers, stuff like that. And, like, I remember every single person that was a Power Rangers fan cried so foul on that comic book for a few different reasons. One, Bulk and Skull, like, they call them Bulk and Spike. And everybody's just like, what the crap? And then there was a panel in that particular comic where the yellow Ranger, she got kind of hit by a car.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
What?
because what is it? Lord Zed puts a spell on Billy's rad bug, and it becomes a monster life, and it's driving through and actually like clips Trini in the leg.
Oh my god, that is so wrong in
And
so
everybody's
many
just like,
ways.
"Wow, you actually had the balls to do that." And like there was such a big outrage. I think that's actually why that company ended up losing that property, and I think they went out of business after that.
I wonder why.
They're still
Man.
around, but they ended up losing that, and of course, he got picked up by Boom Studios, which is doing a phenomenal job on both the Mighty Morphin and Go-Go Power
And
Rangers
Go-Go,
titles.
yes. I love those titles. They're fantastic. The whole Shattered Grid storyline was amazing.
Oh my god,
yeah.
dude!
Oh,
What I
yeah.
love about Boom Studios is really they are showing me what could be done with the property if they were not restricted with the Sentai footage.
Yeah. I don't know if you read it. It was a little cheesy. It was a little weird. But Justice League versus Power Rangers. It was like a versus title, but they actually ended up working together. I
Yep.
loved it.
I got that. Yeah, I got that entire series. That was amazing.
Because I think there was a gap between issue 4 and 5, I think, and I thought it had gotten canceled, and I was so upset.
Yeah, no, there was some kind of dispute among the writers because they were trying. I guess there was they were clashing about how the story should end. Like some people wanted it one way, other writers wanted it the other way, and they were like, "Oh, well, who should how should this work?" And then it ended up, for a while it was announced that it was canceled until they finally did get the last 2 issues out. Which, oh my god, that made my heart skip a beat. I'm like, are you gonna leave me hanging? Like almost like that left me hanging about as bad as Batman Damned is right now.
Yeah. Man, that's another one. My issue 2 is still waiting back there because I refuse to read it until I get at least 3 issues.
I haven't even read the first one yet. I am waiting for it.
I don't blame you. I read the first one, picked up the second. I didn't get the original release of the first one because I was going to wait. I didn't know that there was going to be an issue about a bad penis being in it. So I didn't get it. I said to myself, my comic book store was like, we want to wait? And I was like, no, I'll pick it up next week. Oh, no, big mistake. So I ended up, they're never going to reprint it or anything because DC refused to reprint it. So I got it digitally. So that's the only way that I got issue number 1. Then issue number 2, I got physical, of course. And then I'm going to get the trade when it comes out. But, and I refuse to read number 2 until I know that 3 is coming out. I mean, everything keeps getting pushed. It's like Doomsday Clock all over. And I'm just like...
Yeah, which that next issue got pushed back again.
Of course it did. So it's just like... I don't even want to read it now. Like, when you guys keep doing this, it's just like, if I read this, leave me with a cliffhanger, I have to wait 6 months for the next issue, get the heck out of here.
Yeah, no, I'm letting my Doomsday Clock just stack up.
Yeah, same.
Because...
Yeah,
there's no point. I mean, because like by the time I get to the next issue, I've already forgot what happens.
Yes, I only read the first 2 issues, man, and I'm not ashamed to say. After that, I just been collecting them. Collecting. I'm waiting for it to be over. I'm going to collect all single issues, and after that, I'm going to get the trade just because I really enjoy the whole premise of the story, and I like Manhattan, so I was like, I'm going to support the story. I'm going to support everything. So I'm going to get the trade, and then after that, I think hopefully I'll read it. And I'll be like, yeah.
That's one particular book where I'm just like, you know what? They just need to release it as a trade from the get-go. And call it a day. I mean, I'm actually a firm believer in that I think all events should be released as trade paperbacks. It's like you're announcing this as an event. Make it an event. Make it a nice, big, thick hardback. I'll pay the $30 for it, whatever. Let me have it like that.
You're so right. You're so right. I like that a lot. That would be amazing. Just release it as a graphic novel. Be like, here you go. Graphic novel. Enjoy.
Exactly. Man. It's basically because, like, I guess you could think about it as, your single issues. It's like, okay, here's your TV series. Okay, here's your movie.
Yeah. You're right. Like with Blackest Night, all the side stories that they had with Blackest Night could have been like a nice little just like side stories. And then the main issue, the main story would have just been one nice trade or hardcover. Just, here you go. Here's the graphic novel. I like that a lot.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Oh man, wow, we got off track there from the cartoons, didn't we?
Yeah, so we're comic book people, man. It's bound to happen. It's bound to happen. You know?
Oh yeah, yeah, true. You know, it's like we're sitting there like, yeah, we finally got a concept, and like halfway through, we go back to comic books because that's what we really love too. You know?
Yeah, it's all good. I mean, it's all part of it. You know, it's part of the culture.
Well, I mean, we were talking about
happened
comic books,
exactly.
TV shows at least for the most part. So.
There you go. So there's our hook. Last thing I remember is Batman versus Dracula. What happened after that? I don't know.
Oh my god! We talked about Power Rangers for a little bit. We started.
Oh yeah, that's it.
I think that's what happened. It went from the Power Rangers show to the Power Rangers comic, and then
yes. Oh man,
went off trail from there. Oh man, but that's good. That's good though. That's good. So, whew.
But anyways, right. TV shows.
Yes.
Oh man. But yeah, going back to the Power Rangers TV show, another thing that it's always going to be in my heart because of the original Power Rangers show is that going back to Amy Jo Johnson, she was like my first crush ever. Like before I like any girl, she was like my first crush. You know, and I didn't know what that was about, but I just thought, oh my God, she's pretty. You know, so that's it. I like her. And she probably hears that all the time, but I'm going to tell her when I meet her. I'm like, I just want you to know that you were my first love. Please don't get creeped out, you know? But she probably will.
Yeah. I think that was like most kids growing up in that era with us. I think that was all of us, man. I think that was all of us that were just like, you know, Amy Jo Johnson was, you know, she was just like, wow, you know, she was just, I mean, she was beautiful. She was, you know, nice and all that stuff. And you're just like, you know, it's crazy, you know, like every guy just had that was their crush. And then of course she left the show, and then they brought in the Australian chick, Kat, you know, and like that, not gonna lie, dude, that accent drove me crazy.
I know.
Like, I love that accent.
It hurt the soul a little. I was very upset when the three guys left, when Jason, Kimberly, and Zach left. It was upsetting. It was like,
that was sad. It was kind of interesting too because like I mean it actually left the show a while ago because I don't know if you watched season 2 recently, but like there comes a point where it's really just Kimberly, Billy, and Kimberly, Billy, and Tommy, and they're kind of by themselves.
Yeah. You're right.
And Jason and stuff. Oh, they're over here doing something, and then like kind of like keeping them out of it until they can do the transition episode. And
that's right. And I remember reading that anytime there was like a shot with all of them, it was like a far away shot with like doubles of them or something like that.
Yeah, so oftentimes there would be doubles, or they'd shoot them from behind and stuff, or even they'd use stock footage from like past episodes to kind of fill in certain things. Because that was nuts. I mean, I give them props for creativity on doing that. Because as a kid, I didn't notice, but as an adult, you know, then I was just like, oh, wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was
man.
It's interesting.
It's crazy because I watched the whole. Let me see. I think I watched the original, the season 2 of the original, and then I think, excuse me, once it went into Zeo, I watched Zeo. I watched Turbo. I watched In Space, and I think that's when I stopped watching. And
I started watching through there. For me, I didn't fall off Power Rangers until. Oh yeah, I'm still watching it. Never mind.
No, see, I watch Megaforce. That was because I heard the concept that there was going to be a gigantic battle at the end,
which ended up
the Rangers.
So disappointing.
I know. So I watched the whole Megaforce. I watched the whole Super Megaforce, and then we finally get to the episode, and 5 minutes it's over, and I was just like.
And what was funny was like Tommy's like rolling up like, hey, we're gonna fight with you, and then if you go through that entire sequence, he's not in one fighting. There's not one shot of the Green Ranger fighting.
God,
there's not one, and you're just like, bro, I felt like I was cheated. You know, and like, cause like it was so funny because up until the big, you know, they called it like I think they called it like the Legend War or something like that.
Yeah.
And like Jason David Frank was promoting that like heavy, like, yeah, dude, I'm like a producer on that episode. It's like gonna be really awesome. And then after the episode aired, it's like, well, I mean, I didn't have too much pull on it, so it's kind of like, I'm like,
yeah, it's crazy because I also watch Samurai. I watch Samurai. I watch Super Samurai. I watch Mega Force. I watch Super Mega Force. And then I think I started Dino Charge. I think it was the one after that.
Yeah, Dino Charge came after Mega Force, which was surprisingly, a lot better.
Than
Samurai and Mega
I
Force.
think I watched like the first 6-7 episodes, I believe. I thought the Caveman Ranger was funny as hell. Like he's literally a caveman who's a Power Ranger. I mean, that's better than Justin from Turbo, the little kid. I hated that little
dude. Yeah, by far.
bastard.
I mean, you throw a rock, you hit a bit better Blue Ranger than Justin.
Yeah.
That kid was like, what are you even doing here?
I know. Just go home.
Are your ratings that bad? Yeah, for me, I was just kind of like, were your ratings that bad, Fox Power Rangers? And then I realized, oh wait, it was supposed to get canceled after Space, so yeah it kind of was. But
but after that I haven't watched. Like I was a Ninja Steel that came after that.
Yeah, Ninja Steel came after that.
See, I know the sagas, but I didn't watch them. Also, I don't have Nickelodeon anymore.
Ninja Steel, Super Ninja Steel, because Nickelodeon was doing that stupid Super thing, which I hated, where it was like, it was like all it really was just half of the season, and then they just all the Super thing was just so they could repackage the old toys and get them back out there.
It's true. That's what it comes down to.
I hope the new one. I hope the new one doesn't do that.
Which one is the new one?
Beast Morphers is the new one, because this is actually the first one. Because I don't know if you knew or had heard, but Hasbro bought Power Rangers.
Yes, I did hear that.
So they're doing the show now, and I'm not sure if they're gonna do the whole super motif like the Neo Saban era did. Okay. I just hope they don't. But I'll say one thing: the toys look amazing.
Well, I would surely hope so. Hasbro is taking care of it.
Oh yeah, that was actually one of my biggest complaints as a Power Rangers fan was from whenever I compared the American version of the figures and toys to the, from Bandai of America to the Bandai of Japan's version for the Sentai series, there was no comparison. It was like night and day, man. Like the toys in Japan were just superior in every facet. And I was like, I couldn't even begin to just think to myself, God, I wish I had these toys. Like I actually ended up buying whenever some of the Power Ranger seasons come out, I was buying the Japanese versions of the toys like on Amazon just so I could have like a cooler, better version.
Hey, I don't blame you, dude. I don't blame you. They do it better. I mean, the Sentai, Super Sentai over there, like the one that was Super Mega Force, that over there was Pirates, because they were pirates. I was so upset when they didn't use that. But I get it. America, they can't handle piracy like that. So
no, pirates. But the problem is you have a pirate ship and the helmets are like pirates.
Exactly. They look like pirates.
It was so that they did not think that one through.
No, they didn't. And it was so, because the whole concept, I think that's one of my favorite concepts so far. The key concept with putting it in the morpher and transforming to that. Dude, kudos. I almost got the morpher from Walmart. I saw it at Walmart.
I actually have the Japanese version of that morpher.
Oh, that's so awesome. I almost got it, but it was so cheap that I was like,
it really was. Dude, it's nuts too, because like on the Japanese version, it's like because like the thing is supposed to open, right? And it's only those two tips at the top that open up. But then if you get the whole Japanese version, it actually like goes like that. It goes and then all of the buttons do something. And there's this feature. There's really cool. There's actually this feature on the Japanese one where you hit this code, and once you enter it, it actually gives you the battle cry of every single Power Ranger series, or well, not Power Ranger series, but Sentai series that had happened. Like it goes through the entire series from the original one in 1970. I think it was like 1975, 1978, all the way up to that current season.
Oh, dude, that's freaking awesome. You're going to have to show me pictures of that someday, because I would definitely want to see that, dude. I think the best morpher that I got was my wife got the Legacy Morpher Pink Ranger. So it's the Pink Ranger morpher with all the coins. Yep. And movie, Crane, Pterodactyl. I think it was, what was the other one? I think it was from the one with the movie version, and then one of them with all of them. I think it was.
Dude,
And it's beautiful. It looks beautiful. And the first time we saw it was actually at a Comic-Con, and it was from the picture that you put of me on the thumbnail, me holding that morpher. That was the first time we saw how it was going to look like. Yeah, because we saw a prototype of it before it released, and I was like, we have to get this when it comes out. And
what's often funny about the Legacy Morpher is that, you know, that's almost like how the Morpher originally was when the original Power Ranger season came out too, because like that's when the toys were good.
Yeah,
like that's when the Power Ranger toys from Bandai of America were good. They were almost like just transferred over here. But then after a while, they just started making them cheaper and cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. Now after a while, it's just kind of like, why?
Yeah, dude. Even the Zords nowadays, because I every time I go to Walmart, I go to the toy section because, yeah, that's what I do. So I go to the toy section, I check out the new toys and everything, and I was looking at the new Zords. And I was like, this is nothing like my original Megazord. Like, my original Megazord was a beast. Like, I would play with my toys. So when I tell you that I would make them fight against giants, I would knock these things against stuff and everything, you know? Yeah. And I would do, like, all the transformations and everything. But nowadays, I feel like, and it brings me back to the changing things, like from cartoons. Same thing with toys. I feel like toys are not the same as they used to be back when we were kids. When we were kids, toys could take hits. You could move them around. You could do things with them. Like I would have like water adventures, sky adventures. I would like, dude. I did so much playing with my toys. It's crazy. And nowadays, I feel like if I grab one of these little guys and I just fake punch the other toy with the other one, his arm will pop off. It's
dude, I don't even open up my toys anymore. Like whenever I buy any kind of figure, I leave them in the packaging.
Nice.
Like,
I saw that. That's so cool that you got that. That's the TV show version, or this is the movie version and the comic version.
It's the comic version with the movie
nice.
version.
Nice. Like, I saw that at Walmart too.
Yeah. This one I got at Target. Nice. What it was they were like, they had like so much of them, like nobody was buying them. So then after the Justice League movie was like all done and over with, they're like, well, discount. You know, nice. It says like I bought it for like 50% off, nice. Which is really cool. But yeah, dude, I really got to go. I really can't wait to. I'm trying to find the Power Ranger toys now for like the Beast Morphers. Because one thing I will say is, dude, like I have the Japanese version of the you know Go Buster, which is what's going on right now with the Beast Morphers. It's like you know the same. You know that same theme and stuff like that. And what's really cool is I was watching the review of the Morpher itself and stuff, and not only does it do whatever the Japanese ones does, but it actually does a little bit more. Like it actually like you know goes through like the Power Rangers theme and stuff like that, and like a few other different things. And I was like, finally, looks like Hasbro's gonna deliver us the toys we want.
Nice.
And yeah, dude, it's really awesome. But yeah, dude, I know what you're saying about toys. It's just like today they just seem so frail, so cheap. You know, you often have to go after like, you know, the bigger, more expensive ones just to get something of any kind of real quality.
Yeah. And then at that point, like you say, you don't want to take them out of the box. You keep them in the box. They're nice collectibles. I found, and I posted this actually in the Geek Fortress page. I found the Justice League figures of Superman and Batman at a local toy store. I'm thinking of this.
Yeah, I saw that
toy store, and that was such a good pick. And the guy went in $9.99 for each. I didn't even think about it. I was like, take my money, here, take it. I need it in my life.
I don't have a job, but here's my money.
Yeah, it's like screw it. I owe money to everybody, but here you go. Here's my
exactly.
I really don't, but that the thought process is like I don't care, take it here.
Oh no, I just have no job. I full time stay at home. It's all I do. I make sure this house is clean. And I take care of that little girl.
Nice. Hey, that's a big job, man. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
Oof, yeah, you're telling me. It's like my schedule is her schedule. You know, whenever she's napping, I'm napping. Sometimes I'm kind of like, oh boy, I should really make a video. I see her sleeping. I'm just like, maybe a couple minutes. And I'm out.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. It happens.
Yeah, but
yeah, dude.
All right, man. I'm actually just about out of time, so
no worries, man.
Start passing this up a little bit.
Nah, yeah, no worries at all. This is such an amazing conversation. I didn't even check the time. I don't know how long, but it's been
Roughly an
awesome.
hour.
Great conversation, dude. Great conversation.
Oh, I agree, man. It's been so much fun. I'm glad that we finally got to actually sit down and have some kind of discussion, even if it's all random, all over the place. It's like, hey, we're gonna end on these things right here. But that's cool, man. It's like you're cool to talk to, and I really, really enjoyed this conversation.
Same with you, man. You're really good to have a conversation with. You are into what I'm into, and vice versa. So it's just flow. It's just flow. It's just one thing after another. That's the best way I can explain it. And that's awesome. Thank you for having me, man.
Hey, not a problem, not a problem. And for everyone else, hey, again, the link is in the description down below for a link to the Geek Fortress channel. Go check him out. Go subscribe. You're gonna enjoy his content. Yeah, like I enjoy it. And go to his Facebook page. I'll probably maybe come back and throw a link for that too. He has got a lot of good stuff on there as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, if you like this video, you definitely, when you watch it later, like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Ring the notification bell. Yeah, look in the links description down below for access to my, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that fun stuff. And hey, everyone, stay geeky. And go ahead, sign off, sir.
Again, thank you so much for having me, man. Everybody, as per usual, everybody's awesome. I love you guys. I love you all. You guys are awesome, guys. Stay awesome and geek on. Be safe.